to add more to the knowledge base. So
We've got Andrew in Philly. How are you?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Good.
Thanks for waiting.
Congratulations on the award. I'm so happy for you guys. You deserve it very much.
Thank you.
So for the past couple of weeks, I've been going to a Bible class at a Christian church. They don't know I'm an atheist. I'm like an atheist Jane Goodall.
Awesome.
Observing them, yeah. Well, like a weird thing, like I noticed that they spend a lot of time trying to show that the Bible is inerrant and has no errors in it. And sometimes I ask questions or I point out contradictions. And when I do that, they tell me, well, no, it's not about the Bible being perfect. It's not about, it not having errors. What this is all about is a personal relationship with Jesus. That's the only thing that matters, that you realize he died on a cross for you and that he saved you. And I tried to point out to them, well, that story, that whole entire concept comes from the Bible. So it seems that they want to have the Bible be literally true, but then they preach that it's not about religion. It's about a personal relationship with Jesus. But is there really a difference between a personal relationship with Jesus and a religion?
Yes, ish.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, let's assume for a second that the Christian hypothesis is actually correct, and that what they're saying is correct. That the important thing is that you have a personal relationship with Jesus. Now, I can't prove that there is no God of that particular religion until they define it in such a way that we can address it. But maybe there is some Jesus, and maybe, for example, my mom has some personal relationship with Jesus, but that's irrelevant to everybody else outside of there. Revelation is necessarily first person. We get that from Hume, etc. But it doesn't have any bearing on me. I cannot distinguish between her personal relationship with Jesus in a real sense versus her delusion of having a personal relationship. The reason I answered yes is that those things are separate from both the religion and the Bible, even though that would be where they would be derived from. Basically what you're dealing with are people who are offering incredibly dishonest responses. They want to claim that the Bible is God's word, and therefore, to the extent possible, it is inerrant and perfect, and it is our, the guiding light that leads us to the truth. And when challenged on those issues, that's when they're going to say, well, it's not so much about the Bible as it is this. It's a complete redirect. It's like somebody asks you if you believe in God, and you say, I don't know what I believe. Or I don't know for sure that there's not a God, actually would be the better redirect. Right. Somebody says, hey, do you believe in God? Well, that's a yes-no question. And it is yes-no. Because we're not asking how strong is your belief or how strong is your disbelief. It's just, do you believe? You either believe or you don't. And if their response is, well, I don't know that there isn't a God. Okay, that's great. I'm sure that's an answer to some question, but it's not an answer to the question I asked. And that's kind of like the sort of response that you could do, but it seems that they've already admitted. It's like they're doing a two-step. It's, yeah, the Bible's not true, but it's about this. And I got no better information for you. I wish I had a better response to that. But it's like saying, we need a better response. We need a better way to talk to schizophrenics. I mean, when you're dealing with someone who isn't going to, or isn't capable because of, I'm not saying these people are crazy or stupid or anything like that, but their religion in particular, the ideas that they have bought into, have constructed a brain that is incapable of dealing with these subjects honestly and actually seeing the flaw. And you can try to point it out, and you can say some of the things that I've talked about. Some of them will finally get it. I mean, I was a fundamentalist for 25 plus years, and eventually I got it. And if I could figure out exactly how I got it, I'd change the world. All I know is that it was a process, and one of the key things was that I actually came to care whether or not my beliefs were true, instead of whether or not they were comforting or whether or not they were popular, whether or not I was with the in crowd of people who were constantly reinforcing those beliefs.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, guys.
Sure.
Great.
Have a great day. Bye.
Sure. Did you have anything you wanted to add on that?
No, not really. I guess just that I think this is another example of how religion, particularly Christianity, has to evolve in order to survive. Because, if you've got people in there who are doing the same thing, that Andrew was doing, which is, even theists challenging, hey, how come this contradicts this other thing over here? And what about this genocide thing? And when you've got people asking hard questions, if you're going to sit there and say, well, this is actually a good representation of God's character, you're probably going to lose a lot of people on that.
Yeah, my
so
big problem with the honesty of it.
Yeah, it's completely dishonest.
It's like if you were talking about anything else. For example, if you were offering up your evidence for evolution, or you were teaching somebody evolution, which that would be more accurate with the type of sermon and Bible study type thing. So you're teaching somebody about evolution, and you say that this and this and this and this and this happened. And if somebody comes up and were to say, "Aha, but do you have evidence for this right here?" No scientist, no teacher is going to say, well, that one might be a little bit wrong. It's really about this.
Right.
It's just not the way any kind of rational discussion goes about any subject. It's religion is the end-all, be-all exception to rational discourse.
Yeah.
We got Steve in Hong Kong.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Guys, how you doing?
Good.
I made sure that I woke up early so I could phone you guys.
I'm impressed.
Okay, so my question is, actually, I should probably state my position first. I was an atheist probably for about 20 years of my life, and for the last few years, reading a lot of different types of literature and stuff, mainly more Taoist or Buddhist in my viewpoints and the way I think. So my question to you guys is, who am I on with? I'm on with you, Matt, and who else?
And Jen.
Jen, hi. How you doing?
Good.
So I guess my question to you guys is, in relations to the questions regarding suffering and death, how was it kind of like taught to you guys when you were growing up as Christians, and then how do you see it as an atheist now?
Well, when I was growing up, it's the standard story that, death entered the world because of the fall. So that was the explanation for, why we have death.
And suffering.
And suffering, yeah. And as far as the suffering thing, the obvious suffering of people, all you had to do was turn on the news and you'd see that, somebody lost their house in a fire, or, a hurricane hit, or something was happening, people were suffering. And that was always explained that, it was either those people deserved it because, they turned away from God, or, it was a, sort of divine retribution for some other real or imagined crime that they had committed. It was never really a very acceptable answer. And in particular when it seemed like it was just gratuitous, the death of innocent children or something like that. And that was always God works in mysterious ways, and you don't know what God's purpose was, and all this stuff. And like I said, it was just very unsatisfactory, those explanations. And the reality is that sometimes there is no answer. We're humans. We always search for some reason for something to have happened, and sometimes there's just no reason. Things happen.
Not just reason, but intent.
Right.
We tend to try to look for intent in things. So when we see some huge catastrophe like a tsunami or a hurricane that comes in and devastates an area and kills people and completely destroys an economy and makes sure that plenty of other people are going to die in the aftermath from disease or starvation or whatever else, we look at that and say, wow, that's just massive amounts of suffering. Why would that happen? Well, you're already asking the wrong question, because not that why is bad. You can phrase a why question that would be valid, but when you ask that question, people are looking for a purpose or an intent, and the very question presumes that that's going to be the case. It reminds me of people who would say, if God didn't create the universe, then who did? And by asking who, they're assuming that the answer needs to be who. And the thing I keep harping on is asking the right questions. The question is, there must be some explanation for the existence of the universe. What is that explanation? And that question does not eliminate possibilities. It doesn't eliminate the possibility of a God or divine, power doing it, and it doesn't eliminate the possibility of a scientific naturalistic explanation. So when we look at a tsunami, instead of saying why and implying intent or purpose, we really need to understand more about weather and the universe we live in, the practical reality of it, and you can come to an understanding that, first of all, if this had an intent or purpose behind it, it's vile and malicious. And if your God is sending hurricanes and tsunamis to destroy people, then he's just, beyond my ability to fathom why anybody could or worship or revere that for any reason other than fear. Now, you mentioned that you were an atheist, and these ideas of death and suffering somehow changed your view to kind of a more Taoist or whatever view. My thing is that having been a Christian and now I'm an atheist, what changes my mind is evidence. And I can't see anything in the ideas of death and suffering that would lead me to change my position towards any direction, be it Taoist or Christianity or whatever, because there's nothing there. There's no evidence for the benefit of those. So it seems to me that, and I don't know all of your reasons, and I'm happy to have you expound on them, but it seems to me that you're opting for the comfort thing. You're opting for it would just be too sad to live in a world where there wasn't this, and therefore I'm going to go ahead and go for the comforting delusion rather than an evidence-based solution.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could say it's like a security blanket or an illusion, but again, there's no proof for either or, correct?
Well,
the thing about Taoism, it's not really a religion. I mean, if anything, it's more like a way of reasoning life, or there's no real God to worship. It's just the way that I'm thinking.
Steve?
So it's not really like Taoism led me in a different way of thinking.